Happy Friday. Happy Friday to you, chat. How you doing? Happy Friday. We're still wearing the glasses, so that means I is still in the process of healing. So, uh, as long as you see these glasses, just assume it's okay. All right. But today is April the 25th, chat. That means it's day 118 in a row that we've been doing this. 118 days in a row. The number, the clock says 811. I said 818. It's backwards. Same, right, Tommy, you know? God is here with us right now. You feel me? It's April the 25th. What's up, basketball? That means we're reading from April the 27th because we're 2 days early. How y'all doing today? Happy Friday. Happy Friday. Can you not tell that I'm happy that it's Friday? Can you tell that I'm happy it's Friday? Can you tell I'm happy it's Friday? Can you tell I'm happy it's Friday? My day is going pretty good. My day's going pretty good. You feel me? So, how about yours? Tonight's verses are coming from Judges 7:1-8, ending on verse 17. We're following that with Luke 23:1-43, then Psalms 97:1-98, ending on verse 9, and then Proverbs 14:7-8. Woo! Don't forget to double tap that screen as soon as you join the stream. You feel me? And let's get into tonight's daily read of the One Year Bible. We got over 200 days left on our yearly goal, but 118 is a nice number. You feel me? So. Judges 7:1-8-17. So Jerubbaal, that is Gideon, and his army got up early and went as far as the spring of Harod. The armies of Midian were camped north of them in the valley near the hill of Moreh. The Lord said to Gideon, "You have too many warriors with you. If I let all of you fight the Midianites, the Israelites will boast to me that they have saved themselves by their own strength. Therefore, tell the people, whoever is timid or afraid may leave this mountain and go home." So 22,000 of them went home, leaving only 10,000 who were willing to fight. But the Lord told Gideon, "There are still too many. Bring them down to the spring, and I will test them to determine who will go with you and who will not." When Gideon took his warriors down to the water, the Lord told him, "Divide the men into two groups. In one group, put all those who cup water in their hands and lap it up with their tongues like dogs. In the other group, put all those who kneel down and drink with their mouths in the stream." Only 300 of the men drank from their hands. All the others got down on their knees and drank with their mouths in the stream. The Lord told Gideon, "With these 300 men, I will rescue you and give you victory over the Midianites. Send all the others home." So Gideon collected the provisions and ram's horns of the warriors and sent them home. But he kept 300 men with him. How you doing, Mr. Drip? I do not know that song. The Midianite camp was in the valley just below Gideon. That night the Lord said, "Get up, go down into the Midianite camp, for I have given you victory over them. But if you are afraid to attack, go down to the camp with your servant Purah. Listen to what the Midianites are saying, and you'll be greatly encouraged. Then you'll be eager to attack." So Gideon took Purah and went down to the edge of the enemy camp. The armies of the Midian, Amalek, and the people of the east had settled in the valley like a swarm of locusts. Their camels were like grains of sand on the seashore, too many to count. Gideon crept up just as a man was telling his companion about a dream. The man said, "I had this dream, and in my dream a loaf of barley bread came tumbling down into the Midianite camp. It hit a tent, turned it over, and knocked it flat." His companion answered, "Your dream can mean only one thing. God has given Gideon, son of Joash, the Israelite, victory over the Midian and all his allies." When Gideon heard the dream and its interpretation, he bowed into worship before the Lord. Then he returned to the Israelite camp and shouted, "Get up, for the Lord has given you victory over the Midianite hordes." He divided the 300 men into three groups and gave each man a ram's horn and a clay jar with a torch in it. Then he said to them, "Keep your eyes on me. When I come to the edge of the camp, do just as I do. As soon as I and those with me blow the ram's horns, blow your horns all around the camp and shout for the Lord and for Gideon." It was just after midnight, after changing of the guard, when Gideon and the 100 men with him reached the edge of the Midianite camp. Suddenly, They blew the ram's horns and broke their clay jars. Then all three groups blew their horns and broke their jars. They held the blazing torches in their left hands and the horns in their right hands. And they all shouted, "A sword for the Lord and for Gideon." Each man stood at his position around the camp and watched as all the Midianites rushed around in a panic, shouting as they ran to escape. When the 300 Israelites blew their ram's horns, the Lord calls the warriors in the camp to fight against each other with their swords. Those who were not killed fled to places as far away as Beth Shittah, near Zerara, and to the border of Abel Meholah, near Tabbath. Then Gideon sent for warriors of the Naphtali, Asher, and Manasseh, who joined in chasing the army of Midian. Gideon also sent messengers throughout the hill country of Ephraim, saying, "Come down to attack the Midianites, cut them off at the shallow crossing of the Jordan River at Beth Barah." So all the men of Ephraim did as they were told. Hey, what's up, Flaneur? Tasty? That's pretty funny. So all the men of Ephraim did as they were told. They captured Oreb and Zeb, the two Midianite commanders, killing Oreb at the rocks of Oreb and Zeb at the winepress of Zeb. And they continued to chase the Midianites. Afterward, the Israelites brought the heads of Oreb and Zeb to Gideon, who was by the Jordan River. Then the people of Ephraim asked Gideon, "Why have you treated us this way? Why didn't you send for us when you first went out to fight the Midianites?" And they argued heatedly with Gideon. But Gideon replied, "What have I accomplished compared to you? Aren't even the leftover grapes of Ephraim's harvest better than the entire crop of my little clan of Abiezer? God gave you victory over Oreb and Zeb, the commanders of the Midianite army. What have I accomplished compared to that?" When the men of Ephraim heard Gideon's answer, their anger subsided. Gideon then crossed the Jordan River with his 300 men, and though exhausted, they continued to chase the enemy. When they reached Succoth, Gideon asked the leaders of the town, "Please give my warriors some food. They are very tired. I am chasing Zebah and Zalmunna, the kings of Midian." But the officials of Succoth replied, "Catch Zebah and Zalmunna first, and then we will feed your army." So Gideon said, "After the Lord gives me victory over Zebah and Zalmunna, I will return and tear your flesh with the thorns and briars from the wilderness." From there, Gideon went up to Peniel and asked again for food, but he got the same answer. So he said to the people of Peniel, "After I have returned in victory, I will tear down this tower." By the time Zebah and Zalmunna were in Karkor, with about 15,000 warriors, all that remained of all the allies of the army east, 420,000 had already been killed. Gideon circled around by the caravan route east of the Nobah and Jogbebah, taking the Midianite army by surprise. Zebah and Zalmunna, the two Midianite kings, fled, but Gideon chased them down and captured all their warriors. After this, Gideon returned from battle by the way of the Heres Pass. There he captured a young man from Succoth and demanded that he write down the names of all 77 officials and elders in the town. Gideon then returned to Succoth. How you doing, Jaden? How you doing? I believe so. Your name looks familiar. I believe so. And said to the leaders, "Here are Zebah and Zalmunna. We were here before. You taunted me, saying, 'Catch Zebah and Zalmunna first, and then we will feed your exhausted army.'" Then Gideon took the elders of the town and taught them a lesson, punishing them with thorns and briars from the wilderness. He also tore down the tower of Peniel and killed all the men in the town. And he did what he said he was going to do. All right, now Luke 23, 13 through 43. Then Pilate called together the leading priests and other religious leaders, along with the people, and he announced his verdict. "You brought this man to me, accusing him of leading a revolt. I have examined him thoroughly and on this point in your presence, and find him innocent." Herod came to the same conclusion and sent him back to us. "Nothing this man has done calls for the death penalty, so I will have him flogged, and then I will release him." Then a mighty roar rose from the crowd, and with one voice they shouted, "Kill him, and release Barabbas to us." Barabbas was in prison for taking part in an insurrection in Jerusalem against the government and for murder. Pilate argued with them because he wanted to release Jesus, but they kept shouting, "Crucify him, crucify him." For the third time he demanded, "Why? What crime has he committed? I have found no reason to sentence him to death, so I will have him flogged, and then I will release him." But the mob shouted louder and louder, demanding that Jesus be crucified, and their voices prevailed. So Pilate sentenced Jesus to die as they demanded. As they requested, he released Barabbas, the man in prison for insurrection and murder. But he turned Jesus over to them to do as they wished. As they led Jesus away, a man named Simon, who was from Cyrene, happened to be coming in from the countryside. The soldiers seized him and put the cross on him and made him carry it behind Jesus. A large crowd trailed behind, including many grief-stricken women. But Jesus turned and said to them, "Daughters of Jerusalem, don't weep for me, but weep for yourselves and for your children. For the days are coming when they will say, 'Fortunate indeed are the women who are childless, the wombs that have not been born, a child in a breast that have never been nursed.' People will beg the mountains fall on us and plead with the hills, bury us. For if these things are done when the tree is green, what will happen when it is dry?" Two others, both criminals, were led out to be executed with him. When they came to a place called the Skull, they nailed him to the cross, and the criminals were also crucified, one on his right and one on his left. Jesus said, "Father, forgive them, for they don't know what they are doing." And the soldiers gambled for his clothes by throwing dice. The crowd watched, and the leaders scoffed. "He saved others," they said. "Let him save himself. This is really God's Messiah, the chosen one." The soldiers mocked him, too, by offering him a drink of sour wine. They called out to him, "If you are the king of the Jews, save yourself." A sign was fastened above him with these words, "This is the king of the Jews." One of the criminals hanging beside him scoffed, "So you're the Messiah, are you? Prove it by saving yourself, and us too, while you're at it." But the other criminal protested, "Don't you fear God? Even when you have been sentenced to die, we deserve to die for our crimes. But this man hasn't done anything wrong." Then he said, "Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom." And Jesus replied, "I assure you, today you will be with me in paradise." That was such an impactful line. I really wish I didn't mess that one up. Oh, look, another Bible thumper. What does that mean, brother or sister? I'm just reading, bro. I'm just reading, bro. Oh, man. All right. And now Psalms 97, 1 through 98. In verse 9. "The Lord is king. Let the earth rejoice. Let the farthest coastlands be glad. Dark clouds surround him. Righteousness and justice are the foundation of his throne. Fire spreads ahead of him and burns up all his foes. His lightning flashes out across the world. The earth sees and trembles. The mountains melt like wax before the Lord of all the earth. The heavens proclaim his righteousness. Every nation sees his glory. Those who worship idols are disgraced, all who brag about their worthless gods, for every god must bow to him. Jerusalem has heard and rejoiced, and all the towns of Judah are glad, because your justice, O Lord, for you, O Lord, are supreme over all the earth. You are exalted far above all gods. You who love the Lord hate evil. He protects the lives of his godly people and rescues them from the power of the wicked. Light shines on the godly, and joy on those whose hearts are right. May all who are godly rejoice in the Lord and praise his holy name. Sing a new song to the Lord, for he has done wonderful deeds. His right hand has won a mighty victory. His holy arm has shown his saving power. The Lord has announced his victory and has revealed his righteousness to every nation. He has remembered his promise to love and be faithful to Israel. The end of the earth has seen the victory of our God. Shout to the Lord, all of the earth. Break out in praise and sing for joy. Sing your praise to the Lord with the harp and melodious song, with trumpets and the sound of the ram's horn. Make a joyful symphony before the Lord, the King. Let the sea and everything in it shout his praise. Let the earth and all living things join in. Let the rivers clap their hands in glee. Let the hills sing out their songs of joy before the Lord, for he is coming to judge the earth. He will judge the world with justice and the nations with fairness. And now Proverbs 14, 7 through 8. Stay away from fools, for you won't find knowledge on their lips. The prudent understand where they're going, but fools deceive themselves. And now it's never too late until it's too late. That's a pretty dramatic title today, I'm not gonna lie. Let's go. All right. Focus. Come on. Sometimes it doesn't want to focus. There we go. All right, let's go. All right, it's never too late until it's too late. There's a tragic number known only by God, known only to God. The number of people who knew they needed to turn their lives over to Christ and intended to do so, but put it off until it was too late. They knew what they needed to do, but their lives ended before they committed their lives to Jesus. For a thief on the cross, in the middle of his own execution, it was not too late. For us, no matter what we have done, It is not too late. Interesting. And now, chat, that is the end of today's reading, day 118. We have been doing this for 118 days in a row. And give me 1 second. I'm gonna turn off this camera real quick. I'm gonna ask for clarity and wisdom on today's read, and then I'm gonna come right back. Ooh. Whoa. Okay, we're back. So first, I wanted to start with Proverbs. I've been starting with Proverbs a lot recently, but I want to start with Proverbs today. So Proverbs 14, 7 through 8, it goes, "Stay away from fools, for you won't find knowledge on their lips. The prudent understand where they're going, but fools deceive themselves." And I mean, it's a very obvious sentiment, you know, but it's a great question is a great question to ask yourself in any situation is if you are keeping it hot with yourself. You feel me? Like you don't got to keep it hot with nobody else but yourself. You feel me? So there's one thing that I always want to make sure that I'm doing personally is am I telling myself the truth? You know, and because if I tell myself the truth, then I'm not hiding nothing from God. You feel me? But if I'm lying and then I'm also lying to myself, then it means I would hide that. I would hide whatever it is from God, and then that would become a burden eventually. And then I become one of those people who who don't know how to let it go, and then have to do this whole circle of life thing that happens every single time stuff like that happens, right? So yeah, so are you being honest with yourself, right? Because a fool will deceive themselves. A fool will trick themselves into believing something they know isn't true, right? They try to trick themselves into believing something they know isn't true, right? Um, and you don't want to be the fool. I'm just saying, you just don't want to be the fool, you know? Uh, yeah, for sure. So let's read Proverbs one more time, right? Proverbs 14, 7 through 8. "Stay away from fools, so you won't find knowledge on their lips. The prudent understand where they are going, but fools deceive themselves." Um, you ain't gotta tell nobody the truth but you and God, bro. So don't deceive yourself. That's really all I gotta say for that, bro. You don't have to keep it hot with nobody but you and God. Just all you gotta tell the truth to be honest. You don't have to tell the truth to nobody else. You just gotta tell it to you and God, right? But you feel me? But you always have to keep it hot with yourself, bro. You always have to tell yourself the truth. You know, you don't got to tell everybody else all your business. You feel me? You don't have to tell nobody else your business, but you have to tell yourself the truth. You know, because then you know it also helps you come up with a plan to what you want to do next. You know, but if you lie to yourself about it, then you're probably just gonna keep doing the same thing, and that's the cycle, though. But that's the cycle I was just talking about. You know, because if you lie to yourself, you're gonna end up depressed. That's what I'm talking about. If you lie to yourself, you're gonna end up depressed. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying all depressed people lie to themselves. I'm saying if you lie to yourself, you will end up depressed. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Okay. All right. All right. All right. Hopefully I didn't offend anybody with that because I don't. That's not what I intend to do. You know, it's just keeping it hot. All right. But we also read from a couple other places today. So let's look at the rest of the word and let's see what the wisdom is today. Oh man. Oh man. This is a great one for people who you know, honestly for myself since I'm on the internet right now doing this is a great one, right? How do you see how these people switched up? You know, you see how these people switched up. But you know how you see how Jesus never switched up? Jesus is you or me in the situation, right? The people other the other people, everything else is the other randoms, right? We're in this situation, we're Jesus, right? Us, you know, because we don't switch up. We come from love no matter what's happening in the situation, right? From everything we do it from a standpoint to share some love with somebody else, right? So us in this scenario, we're the Jesuses over here, right? Because in every situation we're coming with love. But the other crowd, the hecklers, the ones that were before, they were like, yeah, I appreciate you. Those are the haters. You know, those other ones, those are the haters. They don't come from a standpoint of love. But us over here, we never switched up. So in this situation, we're the Jesuses, right? We come from the love standpoint. Because Jesus, even though they were saying, get him out of here, kill him, put him on the cross, nail him down, doing all that stuff, he didn't switch up. He didn't switch up. He still came from love. So we're the Jesuses over here, right? So no matter what's happening, no matter what's happening in the world, no matter what nobody is saying to you, no matter what they got going on, right? You remember, you know, they're just projecting, and we're the Jesuses, so we don't get affected. We don't react to their projections, you know. We keep coming from love. We keep sharing love, bro. You know, we just keep sharing the love. We keep just loving each other. You know, I could say this in a bunch of different ways, but this is just how I feel like saying it today. You know, we are coming from the love, bro. That's it. We coming from the love. No matter what's being said, no matter what's happening, we're coming from the love side of things. You feel me? So let's keep being the Jesuses, right? Let's keep being the Jesuses of the world. Let's keep, regardless of what's happening, coming from a standpoint of trying to share some love. You feel me? Coming from a place of love, because we already got love. We're not looking for love over here. The Jesus is, we're not searching for love. We know what love is. We come with love. We already have love in us, right? So we're not searching for love. The other people, they're searching for love, right? So the Jesuses of the world got to help the people that are searching for love. Remember that they already have love. You feel me? And then they'll stop being such douchebags. Then they'll stop being such douchebags all the time. You feel me? Because it's just because they think they have to find love, and they don't realize they already have it. It's already there. You know, you already got the love you're looking for, right? So like it doesn't matter. You don't have to look for it. But the douchebags of the world think they're looking for it in all the wrong places. So they're not douchebags. They're just lost. You know. But since we already come with love over here on this side, we realize that the people that are upset with how things are going in life, they're just lost, bro. They don't realize they already have everything they need. And the only thing you need is love, bro. So if you realize that you already got the love, then you won't be looking for all that stuff out here. Cause you ain't gonna find it. You ain't gonna find that stuff out here. So you might as well, you know, figure that out. And then remember that you got all the love already now with you right now that you will ever need. You don't need to go look for it nowhere else. So then you won't be upset about random things that don't matter. You know, you won't get upset so quickly because it just won't matter. You just realize it's not that deep because you already have what you're looking for. You're not searching for something else. And now everything doesn't seem so important anymore. You know, everything that seems like it's so important, like it's life or death, is not so important. So then you stop. So then you don't overreact anymore. You feel me? Hey, what's up, Akumi? What's up, Scoomy? You feel me? You realize it's just not that important. It's just not that important, bro. So then you realize, hey, let me take a step back. Let me not overreact, and let me just not react at all. If I'm coming from a place to where I know I'm getting hot in a situation, I realize that I don't have love in this situation. I'm not having this conversation with love, coming from love. You know, if I'm hot in a conversation, then I know I'm not coming from love in a conversation. What I'm doing in this conversation is not spreading love, and that's my only job. So why am I not doing the only job that matters? You feel me? Why would I be not doing the only job that actually matters? You feel me? So um, then I gotta check myself. Stop, take a step backward. Not a step backwards, but take a step back. You feel me? And then come from love. Come from the only thing that actually matters. You know, because my point that I'm trying to prove so bad is making me hot doesn't matter for real. It doesn't matter for real. So this point that I want to make so bad, it doesn't matter for real. It doesn't matter for real because the only place it comes from is love, bro. So if whatever I'm saying isn't coming from a place of love, then it don't matter. Then it don't matter for real. because it's not even real. It don't even matter. It's some projection. It's a projection at that point. Anything that's not coming from love is a projection. Anything that doesn't come from love is a projection, you know? So, because you can't project love. You can't project love because it's already there, you know? Does unconditional love exist? Yes, for sure. Because unconditional love already exists. No matter what's going on, you already have unconditional love because you're here. You're alive. You already have unconditional love because you're here. You're alive. You know, because the only thing that actually exists is love. So if anything else is happening, then it's not real. If anything else is happening, it's not real because the only actual real thing is love. You know. If anything else is happening, then it's not real. It's man-made. It's a man-made thing. If anything else is happening in a situation, a conversation, life circumstances, anything, and that's one thing that people don't like to admit to themselves, then it's a man-made. It's made from you. It's not on God. God didn't do that. God didn't do the messed up stuff. God didn't do all the messed up things. God didn't make all the messed up decisions. Those are man-made things. All that other stuff is man-made, you know, or woman-made, if you want to be that particular about it. You feel me? For example, I think in order to love, there is a condition. Nah, that love is already here, so there is no in order to love. Love is already happening, so there is no in order to love. That's not a thing. It's already been. You're already loving. There's nothing that happens to love. You're already loving because that's the only thing that's real. Everything else is man-made. Literally everything else is man-made. Literally everything else is man-made. So every emotion is man-made. Every situation that doesn't happen out of love is a man-made thing. All that stuff is man-made. It's all man-made. If you think about it for a brief second, you realize that every situation is caused by you. Any situation that you're in is caused by yourself. If you sit back and you look back at the situation, you can see how every decision you made that wasn't from a loving place caused that situation to happen how it happened. But all you gotta do is take a day, take some time to look back on your days, right? And you realize that every situation that happened that wasn't a nice situation happened because you did something not out of love, not out of love. Because if you would have just followed love and did what was already there, then it would have went perfectly. It would have worked out perfectly. But you added your 2 cents. You added your man-made 2 cents to it. So yeah, flow is a natural thing. It's always happening. The flow of love is always happening. It's not something that you have to do. It's always here. It's the only thing that exists. Anything else that happens is man-made. The flow is naturally always happening. Anything else that's happening is man-made. That's why it's called the flow. It's not called the stop. It's not called the stop. It's called the flow. You know, it doesn't stop. It's always happening. Anything else that happens is man-made. You know. For example, if you're a bad person, you will go to hell without God's love. So even there is a condition. No, it's not a condition. There is no condition because God doesn't want to send you to hell. That's not something that God wants you to do. So you know, God influences you through little nudges to save yourself. Because at the end of the day, most people end up saved at the end of the day. So most people end up saved at the end of the day. And the only people that don't end up saved are extremely stubborn. And then they even get another chances to come back. So there is no condition. Love is always happening all the time. Love is always happening all the time. You know? Love is happening all the time. Love is always the only thing that's happening. Anything else that's happening is man-made. Any idea that you have that is like that idea right there that you just gave me right there is a man-made idea. That is a man-made idea. Who knows what happens when you die? That's a man-made assumption of what happens when you die. You know, that's another man-made thing. Man made the good and the evil. Man made the two sides. Man made winning and losing. These are all man-made things. None of these things are real things because they're man-made. None of these things are real things because they're man-made things. You know. And it's not to say that all our efforts are in vain. That's not true. That's not. We're supposed to be here doing all these man-made things. You know. You feel me? But you know, that doesn't make them real. That doesn't make it the ultimate truth, you know? How about hate? Hate ain't real. It's another man-made phenomenon, bro. It's another man-made phenomenon. Just like good and evil, bro, is man-made. That's made up. It's made up. It's made up. It's a made-up thing, bro. If you think about it for more than 2 seconds, and you don't immediately just go with the first judgment that comes up from you, because judgment is also a man-made thing, right? But if you so but as soon as you don't come to the first judgment that crosses your mind, right? Because that's what a lot of people do. They get the first thing that pops in their mind, that's what they go with, right? But as soon as if you don't go with the first thing that pops in your mind, you realize that it's a man-made feeling that you just made yourself. You just made that feeling yourself. You just made that feeling yourself. It's not real. It's it's not real. And if you just take a couple seconds to go over these things. You don't gotta read notebooks. You don't gotta none of that stuff. Just take a couple seconds to go over your day and the things that you do go through your day, and the things that happen during your day. You begin to see how everything is coming from you. Everything is happening from the decisions that you make, because you're fighting the flow. Whenever not good things happen, it's because you fought the flow. The good, everything that happens is supposed to be something that's good. Another man-made idea, but you know, the natural flow of things is love, right? So that means the natural flow of things is good things. So every time something that happens that isn't in the natural flow of things, is somebody fought against brainwashing. No brainwashing. Somebody fought against so yeah, brainwashing as in people taught you a bunch of concepts that aren't real. That's brainwashing, definitely. Um, but you know, you begin to see that all that it just comes is your fault. No one wants to take the blame here, right? No one wants to take any blame here. You feel me? But every occurrence that happens out of that's not in the flow, which is the flow is love, right? Is a man-made thing that you did. So it's your fault. So it's your fault, because all you had to do was go with the flow. All you had to do was go with the flow, because the natural flow is love, right? So everything that happens that's not love is your fault. It's your fault because you fought against the flow, bro. You fought against the flow, bro. That's not anybody else's fault but yours. But it's not like that doesn't hurt you, that helps you. When you realize something like that, that doesn't hurt you, that helps you. Because then you can see that the flow is man-made. No, the flow is something that's always happening. But it exists though. Yeah, the flow is man-made, but it's always happening, but it exists though. Like I know myself that I hate something, this comes something love, something, but you're saying that it's not real. Yeah. Okay. Because people are very attached to their emotions, right? Or the ownership of different of their categories of how we like to project ourselves onto other things. We love to project ourselves onto everything, right? We love to project ourselves onto literally everything in every situation, right? And it's extremely funny because you don't have any capacity to hate. You don't even know what hate is, first and foremost, right? No one truly knows what anything is in any capacity whatsoever. Just because some random person you never met made up a bunch of words doesn't mean those words are real. You know? Doesn't mean those words are real. They just gave you new ideas. And since God is so gracious, he gave us the ability to do things with those ideas. That doesn't make it real though. That doesn't make it real though. You know, that doesn't make it real though. You know, that's not what makes it real. Love is what makes it real. That's what makes it real, right? Nothing else makes it real, because the only thing that's real is love. So why continue with these man-made constructs that bind us to limiting beliefs that box in our limitless creativity? Because it's a choice. Because choices, everybody has a choice every single day, and you're not going to make everybody go with whatever you believe. That's not your job. That's not what you're supposed to do. You just let people know that love is the only thing that happens, and then it's up to them to make their choices. Oh my, or for me. That's pretty funny. But yeah, it's choice, and your job. You cannot take somebody's choice away. You can't take anybody's choice away. That's messed up. You know, that's messed up. Everybody has a choice. You know, that's a God-given right there. That's everybody has a choice, and all the people who try to take people's choices away, they end up somewhere messed up eventually. So, so I don't think people should continue trying to do that. You know, it never works out. It just ends up, it just never works out. You know, so I don't understand why people keep trying to do it. Um, yeah, because the only real thing is love, and eventually love is going to win. Or the Steve from Minecraft. That's mad funny. That's mad funny. What's up? What's up, Loudy? Oh man, I didn't even say what's up to you. What's up? What's up, joystick? But yeah, it's just pretty funny. Yeah, because the only thing that's real is love, bro. That's the only real thing that's happening all the time. And if anything other than love is happening, that means you're going against the flow in some way. That's all it means. And check yourself. That just means check yourself. Once you realize that, right, then all you got to do in every situation is check yourself. And that's all you got to do. All you got to do is worry about yourself. That's crazy, huh? That's crazy, huh? All you got to do is worry about yourself. Is that crazy? All you got to do is worry about yourself and then spread love to your neighbor. Is that not a crazy thing to realize? That's mad funny, bro. That's mad funny, bro. That's mad funny, bro. That's mad funny. But I think I'm gonna slide though. Y'all have a great rest of your night. Uh, my little man is mad warm over here, and so I'm gonna hit y'all with his outro. Hey, appreciate the likes on the stream. Thank y'all for chatting with me, and I'm finna hit this outro. We all got that limitless core, baby. I appreciate you. I might even love you, but I'm for sure glad you woke up today. Hey, y'all have a great rest of your night, and I'm gonna see you next time. This was day 118 in a row. Tomorrow will be 119, and I'm gonna see you. Peace.